What's up, guys? We're here to talk about a few movies that I just saw and I'm looking forward to seeing. So I figure, we're gonna have this little handoff right here. So we're gonna start talking about Dungeons and Dragons. We're gonna have Pips and Mags on pretty soon, and then later we're gonna be talking John Wick with Prophet of the Dragon, and then in between we're gonna talk Mario with all three of us. So that's the plan. About not too long a stream, about 90 minutes. So let's get this one started. So I want to bring in my guests, Pips and Mags. How you guys doing?
Good.
Good.
How are y'all
How are
doing?
you?
Doing great. Doing great. I mean, besides being messed with by the production designer of Picard season 3, I'm doing fine on Twitter. So yeah. So
Yeah, I meant to tell you, by the way, totally have your back on that, man. Like, let them know that you roll with a pretty rough crew. I mean, I saw you and Mags with swords and axes and apparently throwing stars and stuff like that. I'm just saying, I think you guys could take him, but if you need backup, I mean, I got a sword behind me. I'll back you up. I don't know who this guy is.
I know he's got more than a sword, but that's all I'll say. So
YouTube, that is literally a joke, by the way. It's not a threat.
No, of course.
I don't even know who this person is, so I can't make a specific and actionable statement.
Yep.
Yeah.
And as my kitty just did, he can look at her butt. So that's
That is the more threatening statement, to be completely honest.
So wanted to say hi to who's in the chat. So we got Anthroparian, we have Nosferatu, and we have Jacob Ironside. So yeah, there you go. So thank you guys for being here. And yeah, like just go on. I'll probably quote tweet to saying, "Hey, I got noticed by somebody. Maybe it's my ticket into the business." No. But all right, but we're here to talk about.
There's no such thing as bad press, right?
That is very true.
Yeah, true.
A bunch of people who have been watching Picard and have brain cells saw that quote tweet and then went and subscribed and joined and became members of the Nerdporeal Continuum, which makes them have even more brain cells and more chest hair. They're more masculine, or for the ladies, they're just more beautiful even than they were before, I'm sure.
Oh my gosh.
All right, but so let's talk about I actually did something I didn't think I'd ever do. I saw a movie that I didn't know existed until a couple weeks ago. So not only that, it was something I totally knew nothing about, but I have to say, if it wasn't for Pips, it wasn't for your video, I would have definitely not seen this movie. So,
well, I am really happy. I was happy when you said that you liked it because, Mags, I feel like looking at what you said in your review, I think that you and I went into the movie with the same idea that like pretty skeptical, like not really sure what I'm walking into here.
Pretty low bar.
Yep, very low bar.
Yeah.
And so when I liked it and kind of enjoyed it, and I said this on the stream that we had on our channel. I was like, man, I don't know. Maybe I'm a crazy person. Maybe, Mrs. Pips, really low cut dress that day, was looking super hot. I was distracted. Maybe I blacked out. I don't even know what happened in the movie theater. Who knows? So when you came back and said that you liked it, Mags, when you said that you liked it after seeing it, I was like, man, okay, maybe Hollywood succeeded in making something good. Crazy.
And I'll be fair with this. It's not the greatest movie because clearly it's not. Yeah. It's definitely a B kind of film, but it's kind of one of those films. And I think Anthroparian saying what movie? It's Dungeons and Dragons: Honor Among Thieves, and it really, to me, when I see that kind of title, Honor Among Thieves, it seems a little satirical, a little giggle, a little laugh, and kind of that's what the movie accomplished to me. And I know when I was in the theater that I was in, it seemed like the audience enjoyed it too. I didn't see too many people upset, too many people, what have you. People laughed at the right parts. There were definitely some funny parts. They were, I thoroughly enjoyed it. I didn't feel like there was you know, in modern era of agenda is shoved in your face and down your throat, this is not that movie to me, at least in my opinion. Like, I actually walked out and I didn't feel like I was hating myself. So
I really, you know, I
Pretty,
went into
pretty
I
low
went
low standard to just not be angry.
yeah, exactly.
I went into this. I went into this with based on, you know, your recommendation on, you know, how to view this, and plus I'm a total normie when it comes to Dungeons and Dragons.
Me too.
So I had no idea what the lore was. I had no idea what to expect. As far as I'm concerned, it was just pure entertainment. A lot of batshit crazy moments, in my opinion. And I mean, bird people, what they did with the bird dude in the beginning of the movie, and just like in the tongue-in-cheek nature of this, just I laughed at the same jokes twice because I saw this movie twice. Why did I see this movie twice? Because I started dozing off during the final battle because I was really tired. Because I went to a late showing on Thursday, so I went again Friday morning before I could answer, you know, because Pips was asking me 5 million times, like, what'd you think of the movie? What'd you think of the movie? The suspense is killing me. I'm like
I gave him one recommendation to watch Andor. He's never let me live it down. And so now I gave him a recommendation and he stops texting me. And I was like, that's it. He didn't like it. He's never talking to me again.
Are you Pips? Are you going to get PTSD from this or something?
No, now balance has been restored. We're okay.
Everything is balance, right?
No, pure. If you want to know true balance, you know, maybe I'll rewatch Andor, get a second, maybe form a second opinion. Then maybe then the true balance will be restored. You know, remember, there's only the Force. You know, gotta get rid of that dark elements, and everything. So, but I liked like there was a moment like the girl that can turn into things. She gets
the
into
owlbear?
she very serious. There's a very serious moment she has, and she's like, "This is something that's so important to me. I won't even do it for the money." And then what's her name? Michelle Rodriguez says, "Okay, we'll just take your cut of the money." Then I don't know. I found that funny. And
there were honestly a lot of good like kind of quips and jokes and stuff in the movie that like were in keeping with the character that was saying it. So it wasn't. I feel like the MCU jokes and stuff like that are like audience focused humor.
Yes.
That it doesn't matter the character that's delivering them. They're any character who happens to be in the screen on that time at that time could make that joke because it's just purely for the audience for whatever comedic purpose. And it kind of takes over the scene and stops it and does those. I feel like this one, it generally lent the humor to the character that was making the joke. Like that one, the barbarian who's got like no manners and is just like
very blunt,
not very tactful and blunt. Yeah, it's perfect.
Yeah, it made sense to the classes of characters too, the way they acted and what they were, and then what level or what experience that they had too. So if you're
like the paladin, is like, he's a real son of a bitch. What does it have to do with her? What does it have to do with the mother of like, oh, you're no fun, are you?
Well, and the paladin made sense to be so stern and so regal like and very like more 100% moral based and everything else. Like, what is it called? That chart of like chaotic neutral.
Yeah, the paladin is a lawful good.
Is a lawful good.
Like
so of course he's going to act that way, right? I mean, he's going to act very like very. He's going to act with a prudish way of doing things, but also be very noble about it too. So of course he's going to act very like eloquently, I guess, if that makes sense.
Yeah. So. Dempsey pointed out there was a druid doing the wild shape, changing character, or not changing characters, but turning into creatures and stuff like that. The paladin, I think, was the one where, like, while I was watching it, I was like, man, and maybe it's because I have a paladin in one of my D&D sort of campaigns, that I like recognized what they were doing probably the best with that character, where it was like, yep, I feel like they were nailing the lawful good for that character. They were nailing the way that the other characters interacted with it. So like barbarians and bards in general tend to be chaotic good, chaotic neutral kind of characters, maybe. And they often are pretty at odds with, you know, your lawful good kind of paladin. And so the two of them, and they're kind of like, what's with this guy, and like some of the humor that they had kind of playing between the characters there, I thought was all really good. Yeah, it was a fun movie. Like you said, Mags, it's not a great movie. It's a fun movie.
It's
and
a
I think
feel
that
good movie.
yeah, that's another way to put it. And there can be some space for all of those different types of movies. So, you know, does this one deserve any Oscars? Absolutely not. If you think the Oscars mean anything anymore these days, maybe a separate question. But this film does not deserve an Oscar. Probably doesn't even need to get an Oscar nomination. Although,
and Oscars a detraction now, dude. Oscar is a detraction now. Like you don't even put those words together. You hear Oscar, you know it's gonna be crap most of the time. So, but yeah, like once again, like the whole I like this movie. Now I have never played Dungeons and Dragons. I've never played, you know, D&D. I've never played Magic the Gathering. I played video games. I played Legend of Zelda. I've played Final Fantasy. I played other JRPGs. I played Western RPGs like, you know, KOTOR and Elder Scrolls and so forth. So I got some decent, you know, experience, or I got some decent know-how or kind of understanding, because I believe they really took from Dungeons and Dragons quite a bit, these video games. And just like, for instance, like when they were in the arena and they were being chased and they're in this maze and they were finding all these treasure chests, it just made me think of The Legend of Zelda. Going in, finding a chest in like a hidden corner, opening it up, and you have like a new weapon or a new item that will aid you in your quest and everything, that you can upgrade and everything. I really enjoyed that aspect. And just them going to these weird areas that are full of booby traps, full of dangers, and a fat dragon, and especially in one, it was almost like watching, like, I felt like I was playing a video game. Like I needed to do like a quick time event, like hit a button at a particular point in order to survive. So, I mean, it was just crazy fun. And then you see the once again, like, I love the beginning. Like the beginning of the movie really sets up the stakes. Like there is, it's like the opening of Lord of Fellowship of the Ring. You know, it really sets up what's going on. You have this through what's his name, Chris Pine playing the bard, telling his story, and what the stakes are and why they're where they're at right now. So, and it was just I was invested. I was invested in the moment. There were some emotional stakes for me, which makes my enjoyment greater. And I thought the characters were all very. I mean, there was respect between all the different characters.
Yep.
And talking, so I didn't feel like one was being pounced for the sake of the other, which is now it's a modern trope at this point.
Yeah. I think too.
It's fun and funny and fresh.
Yeah, fun and funny and fresh. I think too, when you think about it, I did not think that either one of the characters brought anybody down. I did find the quip between the one who could change into multiple animals. Of course, I'm going to be butchering it. The druid, I guess.
Druid.
She did say something about like human or whatever, but I mean, it made sense. She's a different species. She's a different race of another character. So, you know, there's obviously a setup for the fact that she's already been witnessing bad things from the neighboring town, kingdom, or whatever of humans. So of course she's going to feel this way. And then there were other setups and payoffs too that I felt like they were able to accomplish, like the whole, without giving spoilers away, but what happened at the end. I thought that was a very emotional moment where there had to be a choice, and you know, and that was a payoff to one of the characters. and I think they certainly deserved what they got. So I don't want to say too much, but I think y'all are understanding what I'm talking about with that one. But yeah,
Yeah.
I think the actors did a good job playing to the characters that they were set, written out to be, and it seemed to me it felt like a decent role playing type movie where each character has their different personality types, have their certain background and history, their certain level of experiences, what they do, what they can contribute into a fight to. Everybody contributes. It's not one above the other. um and it's and
I
they
love the I love that one where the girl, the druid girl, is like, what do you do again? To Chris Pine's like, I make plans, and if plans go wrong, then I make other plans.
and see that's
And
that's
she's
that's the
like,
strength of his character.
and
Yeah,
she's like, then there's no need for you. He's like, well, I'm here.
well,
So,
and
Yeah.
the thing is though with him, it's his character's strength to be able to think quickly on his feet and outside of the box. um
and to be persuasive and to be,
exactly, and
charismatic, all that.
that's why he was a successful thief before everything changed and what have you. And why they were able to go out on their journey, because they were able to finish what they started basically. So
I got a question though. That one mage dude in the that was performing and all that. What was that thing, that dial thing that he was wearing? That, like, he sets a dial and a spell. What is that?
So
You guys know what that is?
it's not the dial of destiny.
it's not the dial of destiny. I think we can be confident there.
Yeah.
Gosh, that's going to be terrible. You're gonna have to do another series for that one, I'm sure. So when we first got introduced to him, my thoughts as kind of I'll say a casual D&D player. I've played some. I'm not super into the lore and history and all that stuff, and I haven't been playing for years, all that other stuff. I think some of the people in the chat actually have a lot more experience than I do with the game, so they can correct me if I'm wrong here. But when we first get introduced to him, there's generally two types of spellcasters in the game. There are ones that are sort of prepared magic users, and then there are ones that are instantaneous kind of magic users. So I thought that it was him using, grabbing his components for like a prepared spell. But then he sort of, as a sorcerer, he wouldn't necessarily, run into that. If my recollection is correct here on sorcerers, I haven't played a sorcerer. I've played a hybrid one. That's basically what I was thinking that he was going for is a what in some game types are considered like meta magic. They have meta magic rods and augmentations and stuff like that. So like maybe he was using a magical item to augment his magical spell, sort of thing, or he was reaching for spell components. We only saw it that one time. I was expecting after that scene to see it again and have it better explained on exactly what it was. So I don't know, something to do with prepared spell or meta magic augmentation of spells is what I think he was doing.
Yeah, it could be and I'll think of it from a Final Fantasy player perspective. It could be like something like a relic that might grant you some just like a minimal amount of magic or something like that. That I don't know. To me it wasn't that big of a deal, or at least something to focus on. But then again, I'm a very low expert on D&D, so that's kind of where I approached it from previous experiences of different classes of other characters that I've played in other games outside of D&D. So that's how I looked at it. But
yeah, like I said, I thought that I had an idea until I realized that he was a sorcerer, because he's a bloodline magic user. So he comes from a family that has a sort of magical lineage. That's how he gets his powers. That's the source of his magical abilities. And so that should make him an instantaneous kind of caster.
right.
That's why I went with like the meta magic augmentation stuff. But it could also be something from a later kind of edition of the game. I've only played some of the earlier editions, so I know it was based off the 5e rule set. So
Okay.
definitely not an expert.
Gotcha. It definitely helped him a lot in some instances where he had to switch it up, but it felt like it was a magic loader, almost like a gun, I guess, and it just felt like he was and you can tell he was specifically relying on that too heavily, and and it's like a prop for his excuses almost. Where he needed to dig deeper, obviously, and there is a payoff for a lot of this stuff eventually, but he needed to dig deeper and actually trust himself, basically. So that's how I mean, that's what it seemed to me. But I thought it was a very fun film, and visually, the world, they did a great job building that up. I thought the CGI looked far better than most recent MCU movies have with their CGI.
Oh, I was shocked by how good the CGI and the visuals in general, like the set design, the CGI, the sort of like landscape shot stuff, which was a lot of CGI augmentation of real settings, the dragon and the wild shaping stuff, and the spell casting, and even like the costumes, which were not CGI but were just, again, similar set design. The movie had a fairly large budget. I think it was, what did we say? It was like $150 million budget, something like that.
I think so.
So somewhere in that ballpark, which means that with advertising and marketing, even though this doesn't seem like it was marketed at all, it probably needs to make 300 million to break even, something like that. But for that budget, I mean, you compare that to, they spent what's the number? A $500 million budget on the first season of Rings of Power.
Yeah.
And this looks way better than Rings of Power. I guess I can confidently say that.
And even you're right. You're right on the costume design sets too. I feel like the costumes had far better detail than stuff like Rings of Power or what have you. It feels like Rings of Power, they went to like the local Halloween store for the costumes. At least with this, it seemed like the costumes, and even like the background costumes of like all the background characters and what have you, and the sets, that seemed to look like there was more. It looked like there was definitely a lot more effort into it. Now, it's not, obviously, if you want to do comparisons, like you do comps for housing prices and such, if you want to do comparisons, it's not like Lord of the Rings level of stuff, but it's definitely higher than the Rings of Power level of stuff. So
yeah, I would say it is above what I was expecting for what, to use your terminology where you said it's kind of like a B movie. It is well above what I expect from a B fantasy movie. Like B fantasy movie in general, honestly, like good fantasy is like notorious for just terrible, like plastic foam, like LARPing gear that they basically just like, everyone just bring your own LARP swords and we'll just, put it on film. Right.
Right.
Like it is notorious as a genre for really bad costume design. I don't know what it is. Like, I honestly can't explain why sci-fi and other like genres can get really good costumes and settings and like all this stuff going together. It's, but they just can't find somebody who's willing to work in the fantasy genre. I don't know.
I was like, what is the LARPing?
Like you go to,
I was like, what is LARPing?
Yeah.
Okay, now I know what it is.
It's a rabbit hole. Don't go too far down there. But like cosplayers often do way better than like Hollywood movie productions in costume design. And this show, I think that is not the case. Like this show, or this movie rather, actually looked good. Like it looked visually good. You could nitpick if you want. Like there's a lot of stuff where you're like, okay, that piece of armor is clearly not metal. It's probably, it's plastic or something. But at least generally it wasn't like really flimsy looking. They didn't do the Wheel of Prime thing where like allegedly metal armor was clearly made out of cloth and like moved and bent and stuff like that. Like
the chainmail t-shirt.
Yeah, the chainmail t-shirts. Yeah. So, there's like a lot of, a lot of stuff that other properties have done way worse. But what I'd want to circle back to is the idea that that there was kind of the party sort of dynamic in it, and that each of the characters were able to kind of have their own personality and explore their own development and arc, and they had a role within the party. I think that is the strength of this movie, the fact that the characters all have they kept the cast small enough to give each of the characters a real personality. And one of the complaints on the D&D lore side is that bards are magic users. So why does the main character never cast any spells? He doesn't, kind of the joke that the druid used about so what would you say you do here? Yeah. Was kind of a criticism that I know some people have had, where it's hey, why isn't he casting spells? He should be a magic user. And I think that they were trying to limit the scope of the powers and abilities that the characters have in order to give them kind of a lane for the sort of broader audience. So the bard was the charismatic leader. He played his instrument. He was a thief kind of stuff, but
he's a planner.
sort of a rogue, but he's not, he's not casting spells and stuff.
And he's intelligent. He's intelligent. He's the one that leads because of his intelligence. But go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yep. Even the druid should be casting spells as well. We really only see her using her wild shape because it's to differentiate her abilities from the sorcerer's abilities, who does all the spell casting, and then the barbarian, obviously, punching face and doing stuff. My only criticism for that breakdown would be if they wanted to give the characters more defined roles, they should have picked archetypes that were a little more, or they should have picked characters that were a little more distinct. So instead of having a sorcerer, a druid, and a bard, they should have maybe had one of those three characters should have been a cleric.
Got it.
Something like that, where it would have allowed them to have the character classes still kind of narrowly focus on their thing.
If they would have had a cleric, though, I think for a movie, it would have kind of taken away from the stakes.
Yeah, that it would have.
It's different for a video. It could work for a video game or a role playing game, but I'm not sure for a movie. That's kind of why I think they did that.
So there are other D&D properties that have clerics in them that I don't think that it removes the stakes. The example that I will give, and this one has a lot of critical reception issues, so take it for what it is. The Legend of Vox Machina. It's an animated series based on D&D campaigns from, I think, Critical Role. One of their characters is a cleric, and it establishes it pretty early that she runs out of juice, and there are times when she's used all of her heal spells and doesn't have anything else, and somebody is dying, or she's the one dying. That's the kind of classic how do you drive the stakes in a party when there's the cleric? Well, the cleric ends up getting busted up, So you can do stuff. Gadfly Fiction points out druids can heal as well. They cut that out. They weirdly talked about the sorcerer being able to heal, which there are ways for that to happen. That's another criticism that people have brought up. But all these are, I feel really nitpicking the rule book kind of things of the game. Whereas Dungeons and Dragons is a very sandbox kind of game where there's the rule book and then everything is negotiable with the dungeon master. So if you're hey, I want to make this class of character, we'll use the wild shaping druid and the owlbear, for example. If you're hey, I want to make a druid and I want it to be able to wild shape into monstrosities, which is what an owlbear is in the lore, which is not typically something that a druid could do, then the DM might be all right, I'll let you do it, but your druid has to be, in this example, your druid has to be a tiefling, which is a sort of demonic kind of I don't want to get too deep into it, and I'm not a lore expert, so it's a demonic humid hybrid sort of bloodline thing. So it's basically cursed, if you want to think about it easily. So she's a cursed human child. That's what she is, kind of as a tiefling. Yep. And stuff like that. Well, that's maybe why she could wild shape into these corrupted monstrosities, because she is corrupted, and so she has nature powers, but they're corrupted, and the two of those things together. So that's, I mean, it's all negotiable.
Right.
So it doesn't bother me as a fairly casual player that they played a little bit loose with some of the rules to try and make it legible to the audience.
And as what is it? Somebody Gadfly even points out here in chat, I can see the spell slots mechanic of D&D being hard to transfer onto a film show. And that's a fair point. What I do like about what they did, the sorcerer, I like how when they were in the bar, and this might be just a teeny bit of a spoiler scene part, but not too much. I like how in the bar he talks about magic and the rules behind magic, as far as it's not like today's Disney Force perspective, where it's like you can use the Force and it's like the Deus ex machina of everything. He's like, no, there's a limit to magic too. It's not just the end all be all, which I forgot specifically the line that he said, but that line, I was like, well, that's a really neat line to have in a film, to be able to set up, not only to help set up the stakes, but to say, hey, this is, and again, kind of drawing to what you were saying, Pips, and what Gadfly is saying in there, is that they try to, it would just be too overpowering and overwhelming, and for a story like this, that is kind of a simple story but enjoyable, I think it would just be too unbalanced to be able to move this story forward. So how they kind of played out the characters and how they did it in terms of the limitations that they had, but still play well into the characters that they created, just like dungeon, like a DM would say, hey, this is fine, but they have limitations. I think it was fine. And I think that explanation of the sorcerer gave was enough for people to kind of go, okay, well, magic is not going to be the cure for everything. Because if everybody was able to just do it, then why are we in this situation to begin with?
I mean, to your point there. So I watched it with my wife. She reads fantasy books, but she's never really played any RPG video games. She's never played D&D. She none of those things. She's played Magic the Gathering with us, but like that's a card game. She doesn't really get into the lore of it or anything like that, right? So, so she is a like class Magic RPG kind of complete normie, no knowledge going into it, and she fully understood the mechanics. She understood the characters and the classes and the archetypes that they were filling, and so I think they struck the balance pretty well, with the idea being that probably 95+% of the movie going population will have never played a game of Dungeons and Dragons. And of the 5 remaining percent, they've maybe played some, but they're not like, the guy who's been playing every single weekend for years, right? So there's a very small percentage of the possible audience who is going to really intuitively know the lore. And I guess as the white cloaks on the panel here, I guess I should admit the sort of contrast there. For me, Dungeons and Dragons is a game that you play with people. The lore and all that stuff is secondary to having a good time playing the game, versus a book series and things like that, where the story and the lore is primary. So in my mind, bending the rules in the game to make a fun movie is very acceptable. I think that they did a good job, but
and not only that, but you're talking about it's somebody said it the other day that when I hopped on, and it was pretty good, and it was somebody said it right, and they something along the lines of, when you have, like, for instance, Lord of the Rings, that's a story, and those are descriptors and characters that are completely and 100% set in stone. There's no role playing in those characters. I'm sorry, but with something about D&D, you kind of create the world as you see it, based on what the what the rule book guides you for. So it's more like guidelines anyway. So it's like, based on, I'm using the line from Pirates of the Caribbean there, parlay.
Yeah.
So like
More like
anyway.
guidelines, really. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's my basic understanding of it all. Again, it's kind of like Lord of the Rings is already set in stone. You can't just kind of insert your own elf into that story and think that you can just kind of willy-nilly with it in the Fellowship. Like, it just doesn't work that way. Like with
Didn't they do that in The Hobbit though?
yeah, yeah, that's why people criticize that film, Nerdporeal. But I think with and I'm not talking about Peter Jackson's Lord of the Rings adaptations versus the Lord of the Rings books, but like that's completely and utterly different, because at least with Peter Jackson, he tried to keep the spirit of Lord of the Rings. Whereas this is more like, here's a story based on the rule book that we have, and it's more like guidelines anyway. And here's a fun story that we created for this, for your experience. That's kind of how I took it too. And again, I'm sure people are going to criticize me over that, because there's probably hardcore fans out there who won't like it. I understand. I'm not criticizing people over that either, because you can't take away what people like or don't like. But I know I enjoyed it, and it didn't go over my head, and I didn't feel like I hated myself afterwards. I felt like I had a good time, a good experience, and I haven't had that in a long time. So yeah, I had a fun time. I like the fact that there might be some criticism with some vernacular in there, like some of the language that was used. Some people may find that a little off-putting if they're trying to go into serious fantasy mode. I'm sorry to say this, y'all, but when I think of a title of Honor Among Thieves, I don't take that as like Lord of the Rings serious level. I take that as, this is a fun movie. It's a ragtag crew of found family, and trying and realizing that yes, they have they have their flaws, but they end up doing the right thing anyway. So
yeah, and and it ends on a happy note. And I need to say something, because I haven't said anything in
I'm sorry.
So, and you guys should just I should just go take a break and just have you guys just keep going at it. So
I'm sorry.
I appreciate it, and I really appreciate you guys being here, especially in short notice. So like I said, this was a fun movie. I like the visuals, the costumes, and like I said, I went into it because I probably would have, if I didn't listen to your video, Pips, I probably might have been taken out of the movie by the dialogue, by the language. But I think what you said was you based it on just people playing it and like inserting themselves into that world, and then I kind of saw it like that, and then I was able to enjoy it as a result.
Mm-hmm.
That was just my interpretation. I don't know if that was intentional or if that was me kind of putting myself, like, that's just how I watched the movie. That was, how I entered it in the theater, I guess. But in my recollection of it, and it's been a little bit since I saw the movie, since I saw it on the 19th. I saw it pretty early, right? My recollection was that the party members had noticeably more modern speech than a lot of the other characters. So like random person, in the sort of city or the village or the whatever, like all of them seemed like they were doing like accents and like we're talking more kind of like NPCs in your video game, right? And then the party members were just you and your friends playing around the table using regular-ish speech, because like, yeah, you're trying to role play, but like, I mean, none of us are going to break out Old English, right? Like, no, that's not happening. We're just going to go and
I butcher it.
Old English or Middle English? Like you're going Beowulf or you're going Canterbury Tales?
Or you going to speak like Shakespeare? I mean, see, nobody talks. I think that's what I was bringing up with like the vernacular or whatever. And I'm like, I can understand if people are a little put off by it, but that's why I labeled it as, I'm sorry, but I didn't label this as a LOTR serious level of stuff.
Mm.
I labeled it
It's
as
like a video game. It's like a
It's-
video game.
it's like a video game, or like Pip said, like a bunch of friends sitting at around the table and just having a good time and role playing with the game. So it
I like Dempsey's comment saying that my assessment, my assessment might be that the DM is a tryhard and the players are all normies. That might be how it's going.
Yeah.
But I also saw Daniel in the
What's
chat there
DM?
saying that he just got out of the movie.
The master.
What's DM? What's DM?
Oh, Dungeon Master. Yeah.
Dungeon.
What does the dungeon master do?
He's the guy running the game. So
He's like the rule book guy.
So they build the stakes or make the rules or something. Is that how it works?
I mean, have you seen Stranger Things?
I mean, yeah.
Okay. The guy who's got the little like boards and stuff in front of him and like is reading off the encounter as they go, and everyone else is playing the character.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the guy, the one who is running the game essentially. So he's running your adventure in the dungeon, right? And sometimes he plays a character, sometimes not. It depends on the DM and whether or not they want to, how big the party is. He might be like, we need another player character to be able to make this dungeon work. But generally they're just running the game. So, but like I said, Daniel said that he saw it apparently also because of me. So he better tell us whether or not he liked it. I look forward to seeing his review as well. His last one with his dad on 65 was good.
I probably should do a review too. All right.
I did a quick review. That's what I did. Out of theater review.
Yeah.
So.
All right. So so I think this movie gets I guess I'll just throw a number out there. 6.5 out of 10.
I'm either 6.5 or 7 out of 10. It's above average. It's a B film. It's a popcorn flick, something to enjoy and to kind of.
It was fun. It was fun, and I felt I was thrilled by, especially the druid sequence where she's being chased by all those where she's being chased as all the different forms and everything, and you're seeing like arrows swooping by, and you're seeing swords trying to get at her. It just felt fun. It just felt fun to watch, especially from that really close point of view and everything. Once again, like a video game.
What did you think of Mags's assessment saying that this movie reminded her a lot of Guardians of the Galaxy?
Yeah.
I mean, what with the tongue in cheek?
The first one where it's like a found family ragtag kind of crew, and it's a little tongue in cheek, but it's not, they all have their flaws. They're not exactly like what's the best thing they are. They are chaotic neutral, I guess, maybe in a way. Like their neutrality is very sus, but at the same time they're deep down they're actually like decent people, and
they're chaotic good. They're
chaotic good. That's probably what I was saying.
Except for what's the raccoon's name? Rocket. Rocket's chaotic neutral, maybe chaotic evil.
Yeah.
No, he's chaotic neutral. He's chaotic neutral.
What is chaotic neutral?
Oh, gosh, it's
I don't know if we have time to explain the alignment chart.
That's a crazy, like almost
like a wild card type of deal.
Well,
you can't really predict what they're going to do. They might do something rash, impulsive.
Yeah.
Okay.
Not necessarily impulsive. They're morally ambiguous. So like sometimes they'll do good things, sometimes they'll do bad things. Generally, they're like going to be motivated by whatever intrinsically, like personally motivates them, whatever, like whether or not that's good or bad in certain circumstances. And then like they'll just do, random off the wall stuff. But yeah,
the reason why I compared it a little bit to Guardians of the Galaxy, it's because of the fact that when we meet all the characters in Guardians of the Galaxy, it's kind of like they're all thieves. They're all, they're not exactly like the best classes of character or whatever. They were already, doing some silly shit and all that kind of stuff. Excuse me for saying it like that, but it's just, they weren't exactly like the hero arc. It's not like they're Superman or something like that. Like they weren't like morally good and based and all that kind of stuff. They had to kind of grow and realize that they're far better things that are far worse things that are affecting people around them and them that they need to take action in. And that's kind of how I looked at it with this movie. It's like it seemed like a ragtag crew where, you know, they weren't exactly like the best people, but they ended up being the best people for the job to step in and yeah. I'm not going to go into anything further because I don't want to ruin it for anybody else. But yeah, that's the way it looked. And some of their quips amongst themselves, it didn't seem MCU level. It seemed like there were some really good timed pieces of quips in there, and it wasn't annoying. Like it wasn't like every 5 seconds. You know, now it just seems like it's every 5 seconds to kind of make the audience laugh, and it's like, stop it. It's like,
So final thoughts, final verdict on what guys give it a score or something, so we can move on.
My immediate score was 7 out of 10.
7 out of 10.
I feel like I said 7 out of 10 in my video as well, or I might have cut that. I think it was in there. I think I said about 7 out of 10. If not, I definitely said that in our stream, and I think I would stick with that. The more I've thought about it, like there's definitely stuff that you can nitpick. I just don't think it wasn't trying to be one of those movies that is like worth nitpicking, right? Like I think I said, like, it's not trying to be Citizen Kane. It's trying to be Guardians of the Galaxy or something like that. It's trying to be just kind of a fun movie that you can watch with your friends or your kids or something like that, where the story is not necessarily as important as the characters and the action and the humor and all that kind of stuff. And so, is it a movie that is going to be on many people's, like, this is my favorite movie ever? Or like I said, does it deserve any Oscar noms? Absolutely not. But it's a good movie. Like it's, back in the day when people generally owned, DVD collections and stuff like that. Like, I'd consider maybe buying it.
And I'm sure there's other science fiction or fantasy movies that seem wacky and wonky if you even look at it because of some of the design sets and everything else. But it's kind of made me feel of that kind of feeling where it's like, okay, those are enjoyable stories and we still watch those, but they're probably not even worth like the Oscar level worthiness. It's just that's how I look at it. So.
Yeah, it felt like a movie from the late 90s, early 2000s, just a feel good movie, very very Hollywood, trying to entertain, trying to be pleasing, to the audience, and it was trying to be one of those earlier blockbusters, whereas where audience mattered, and movie viewers came first, which I could say the same about. Well, I'm not going to get into that. But,
did you see Anthro's question there? Of the nine Star Wars movies, which one is it equal to?
Well, let's just say I responded to production designer of Picard. Just told him to grow up, and I did do a quote tweet too. So I might get my first block from someone from Secret Hideout. So hey, badge of honor, right? But all right, but yeah, so definitely go see Dungeons and Dragons. It was a fun movie, and if you're a big fantasy fan and you're really you need a palate cleanse from Rings of Power, Wheel of Prime, and shit. Then
that's all one word. That's the full name for Wheel of Prime.
Pretty
Wheel
much,
of Prime shit. So. It's all
so but go see it. So to move on, we're going to talk about just predictions and talk about our thoughts on the Super Mario movie pretty briefly, and we have another guest here that's going to join us in that discussion, and y'all know him. He's going to be smashing some keyboards pretty soon. Prophet the Dragon.
What am I smashing keyboards for?
I don't know, because
I'm going to watch Dungeons and Dragons. Is that what?
I'm making you watch cards.
Why are you
card right now? That's what it is.
I'm playing
emphasizing on your Hyrule?
I'm just playing a video game. I didn't know it was coming on so fast.
He did that to all of us today. He really he like shortened up his intro and then like threw Mags and I both on at the same time. Mags' cat was flashing the camera. Like
I wasn't expecting this what I'm doing to take so long, so I was like, oopsies. But hey, what's up?
Yeah, I'm working against time because you're doing your Ted Lasso thing next. So I'm trying to be as efficient as I possibly can.
Yeah. Thanks, Ted Lasso's a good show.
I didn't know that.
I gotta get Apple to watch Ted Lasso now. Now that everybody's
no, you need to get no. You need to get Apple to watch fucking Tetris. That's what you need to get Apple for. I'll give you my password. That movie was freaking
Tetris. Okay,
fucking great.
I played Tetris the other day. I actually put on my Switch, put on the Game Boy online, and I played a little bit of Tetris. I got 80 lines.
Not that that's what we're talking about here, but that movie, I don't care if any of it's true because it's supposed to be based on a true story, but it was fun as fuck. I loved it.
What, Tetris?
Yeah, it was great.
Okay.
It's fantastic.
Nice. All right.
I might watch it later tonight.
So this proves to the audience that Steve does not hate everything.
However, I hate Dungeons and Dragons. It was shit. No, I didn't watch it. I'm kidding.
Or maybe he secretly, that's the reason the hat's pulled down and he's not looking at the camera. He secretly hated the Tetris movie and he wants the three of us. He's trying to get back at you for
playing
Picard.
Video game. Sorry.
He wants to get back at you for Picard. You can't trust him. You can't trust him. The call's coming from inside the house.
No, I've already been singing the praises of Tetris all over the place. So I'm gonna actually do a review of it. But yeah. So I don't know. I was thinking about trying to get up to the theaters to watch Dungeons and Dragons today, but just didn't happen.
I got my ticket. I got my ticket. I'm going to be seeing it Wednesday.
So we're talking about Mario first. So Mario.
Yeah, we're talking about Mario.
My whole family has already so the kids are gone, as most of you know. So, but they're back Thursday, and my brother has bought. Shit.
Glad you followed that up, man. You're like, the kids are gone. I was like, what did you do?
I murdered them. So the resurrection ceremony is on Thursday. Sorry, just clear that up. But so they're back Thursday night, and my brother has already purchased not only for my whole family but for his whole family. So we're like going in the theater 11 strong. Like I don't know the last time we've done that. So it's gonna be fun. I hope it stands up. Shoot.
The early reviews, and I mean, you always have to be suspicious of early reviews.
The early reviews said Picard was good, so that's about all I have to say about early reviews. Sorry to interrupt you. But
I was thinking about it as I was saying the early reviews, and then honestly, I was like, you know what? Actually, there's not really anyone that I kind of trust on those anymore.
Because it's like I was thinking the same thing because I know what you're talking about. The early reviews are fun, but it's like
I wonder if they repeated talking points like they generally do.
What's that?
I wonder if they repeated talking points. Like you hear all the same.
I don't even look anymore.
If you read like what they say, it's like they say the same. They all say the same thing.
I don't even look anymore.
Like for I think it was Rings of Power. Cautiously optimistic.
It's probably fun and lighthearted and super family friendly and live. It's like I don't care. If I'm interested, I'll go watch. I'd rather listen to what you guys have to say.
It's like they're the news now.
It is. You can't trust a single. I don't know. I don't know. You can't trust any reviews these days. It's very sad. There used to be like a group you could trust. You find your niche, right?
It's always, you have to be positive now. You have to be positive about everything.
But here's something I do want to try and do. So not to interrupt you, but I want to start trying to compare movies to their better counterparts rather than their worst counterparts. Because I'm like, I don't think you guys saw the question, but not to backtrack. How does D&D compare to Lord of the Rings? The Lord of the Rings. That's my question.
No, it's nowhere. It's
yeah.
It's obviously Lord of the Rings. Lord of the Rings movies are going to be above any other fantasy movie, to be quite honest.
Yeah, but so
it's also
Lord of the Rings. You got D&D, then you got. Well, I guess that's true.
And
it's like asking horror versus comedy horror.
Yeah, it's kind of like what Pips is saying. Lord of the Rings, Wheel of Time, that sort of stuff. Those are stories that are set in stone. There's no insertion of people and characters and making up characters to be in this world and blah 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 blah. I think Pip said it best, where you said the role playing part is the primary, whereas the lore and story part is the secondary. But the like Lord of the Rings and Wheel of Time, the lore and story are primary, and anything else is just secondary.
So I guess the way
that makes sense.
There's nothing really else out there like it that's fair to compare it to. Sounds like.
Well, because
in that essence, comparing it to Ring of Power isn't fair either, because it's supposed to be a set rule in stories as well.
that's true.
Whether they fuck it up or not, regardless. So
I'm trying to think of something that I think would be a more fair comparison. I think honestly, your movies from like the 80s and 90s, your like Willow movies and things like that, are probably a better comparison. And like I think it's better than those movies.
Oh, can we not look at anything Seth Rogen has to say?
Pips is chaotic.
See, because this is the thing. This is the only thing that turned me off from maybe liking this movie is him.
I know.
Don't do voices. Then it's like I don't do voices. Then why did they hire him? Fuck off.
First of all, did anyone else actually not know that he was in the movie until this article came out?
I knew.
No, he was announced on Nintendo's Direct
from the beginning. We knew, and that was like Jack Black was sort of and then you heard him. It's like, okay, he's good.
And then the same with like Keegan Michael Key. I was like,
Keegan's too. Was like, okay, that's going to be good too. And even Chris Pratt and Charlie Day is Mario and Luigi. I think I could get used to it once the movie gets going. But just listen to I'm DK. It's like, dude, what? Like you totally screwed that up. Just find somebody with a deep voice and go. Like why?
I just like that the quote is him saying, "I don't do voices." Like, why didn't they just quote him completely, which is like, "I don't do acting."
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
Yes.
I don't do voices. I don't do acting.
No, I don't. No one's surprised.
I'm just stoned all the time, and I don't remember anything. That's all. I don't know why I actually get movies to do. I'm terrible at everything. Oh man. So why this article of all of them? I'm just curious.
I just wanted to get some good prophet rage before I had to leave.
Well done.
You are always chaotic. That's for sure.
Had to get the blood pressure level to skyrocket just a little bit.
Well done, sir. Because Seth Rogen, my God.
So y'all gonna see this movie?
I'm looking at tickets right now.
Part of me wants to sneak out Wednesday night when it comes out to go see it, but I can't do that to the kids. I gotta see it with them first.
I should have asked you when I was over.
Tell them. What do you mean you can't do that to your kids?
Don't tell them that. That might be actually the way to go. Actually, I'll just instead of coming home from work, I'll just go to the theaters up by my place of business and come home late. I'll just be like, sorry, I had to work late. Something happened in the
plan. I just have to ask before you guys go. Pips, have you ever played Mario back in the day?
Yeah.
Or which? I'm just curious what you played.
I mean, I played on Super Nintendo. I played on Super Nintendo that I never actually had my own Super Nintendo. I didn't have video game stuff like at home.
I know
computers or cable or TV.
Probably something I should ask when I visit. When I visit you, I should have asked
you. But around, I think I was like junior high, and I got an N64, which was like a used N64 at that point. Like Xboxes were already a thing, right? So many generations behind the current sort of video game console. And I had played like other people's video game consoles as a kid growing up. You go over to a friend's house or something like that. So that's how like I played Super Nintendo at a friend's house, where I had previously played N64, Dreamcast, like all that stuff at friends' houses. So probably Mario 64 was like the one that I played the most in terms of console. And then like the video game, like the Game Boy ones. So like I had a Game Boy growing up and had lots of games on that. But yeah. What? Not a huge Mario gamer.
How did I just
that's fine. Just curious. I'm just curious. What about you, Mags? Have you played all of them or some of them? Sorry.
I didn't play the Mario games so much, but I know my brothers did because I would watch them play all the time. Especially, I specifically remember the NES version one because that's the color. That's what I'm seeing in my brain like right now. And but I did play. My brothers and I did play together this Super Mario Kart. So when I saw in the trailer,
Oh, yeah.
Rainbow Road, I was like, yes, Rainbow
So,
Road.
so I gotta
And
ask
Smash
you.
Brothers, obviously. Like,
Yeah,
every kid grew
I always
up with
played-
those two minimum.
Oh yeah, and I always played Pikachu because I like to thunderbolt everybody's ass all the time.
Cheating biatch.
I
Yeah.
was gonna say, little sisters everywhere understand that comment.
There's a
I'm gonna
reason
stand
why
in the corner and lightning bolt the entire
and I-
map, just
and I-
constantly just
I
spam
only-
the button.
Pikachu.
I only know this because Ryan is like in the E League right now for his high school for Smash Brothers. But there's a reason Pikachu is like the #1 ranked fighter, like in Super Smash Brothers competitive, because he's a little yellow cheater.
And we do have a
weirdly
wild
racist there, man. But
we have a wild Gray in the chat. He appeared. So hey,
Oh.
Gray.
I don't know why your StreamYard Elements is like messed up, but it just said I'm a sponsor now. I never stopped, so I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either.
Well,
It's-
you should be. Everybody should be a sponsor of the Continuum. Your chest hairs.
I
grow
tried.
even
I
if
tried
you're a
to
woman.
plug it earlier, but it wasn't the
Okay.
same without you here. So you need to,
Oh,
you need to really, you know.
Well, you know, I have nothing. I'm sorry. I sorry. I didn't come in amped up with some bullshit about my brain getting 2 times larger or like my heart pumping more blood so I have more energy because of the Continuum to all the places that need be, especially the places the ladies like.
Ooh.
The Continuum does all of that, I tell you.
Does the
I don't
Continuum
know
have
because
donuts?
I haven't been around a lady in a while, but you know, that's what I'm told.
Wait, hold on, Prophet. You and Nerdporeal came up to
I'm
where
not
I lived, and you said you haven't been around a lady in a while. You
I'm
don't call
not
me a
I-
lady?
like
Is
that.
this how it
I
is?
saw this happening
no,
as soon
do
as he
not-
said that.
See, I said that. I'm talking
I was like,
about
danger,
that
danger, Will
way,
Robinson.
Okay? Max, you're trying to get me in trouble. That way, okay? Not that way. That way, okay? You get it,
Mhm.
okay?
You
You're
know,
trying to get me in trouble.
you put yourself in your own trouble.
Mr. Cream is not on this channel. It's on the other one, okay? Relax. It's okay.
Mag, Steve was talking biblically.
Oh, we gotta make room for Jesus in between there.
There's always room for Jesus.
It is Holy Week after all.
Is it? Wow.
Yes.
Ladies.
Yeah, coming up on Easter. I
Yep.
know because I gave up alcohol for Lent, and it's
Great. Gray's trying to get me in
brutal.
trouble. God. Gray,
So let me-
Gray, I haven't seen you in days, and you come
that
in hot.
whiskey stream is going to be, Pips might be feeling it.
It's gonna have to be after Easter, and yeah, my tolerance is gonna be real low.
Oh boy.
Oh, we see a drunk Pips. You know, that's gonna be fun.
Oh boy.
'Cause I know
That's
I'm
what
gonna
you
be-
get to literally every
So-
show. I've
You
ever
guys are
been
gonna
on
need
part of
a. Do you guys
So-
need a somebody to like moderate that because you're all gonna be
We might
totally
have
trash.
Absolutely.
MC.
but-
That's what you need.
I will
MC.
say this about the Mario movie. I am looking forward to it. At least when you talk about marketing, when you want to do comparisons between
Yes.
marketing between D&D and
100%.
Mario. The Mario movies advertisement has been freaking on fire and on point. And not only that, but at least like people like Chris Pratt who got interviewed, and of course who was asking questions on like what say you with some of the criticisms over this, that, and the other. I loved it when he said, in fact, you're going to see the movie twice. Like that's just like, and he said it with such a boyish look. It was really cute, and I'm like, that just makes me fall in love with him even more, and that makes me want to see the movie because he's not specifically trashing me, the audience member who wants to see it.
That's
So-
why I went and saw Sonic when I did, because of, once again, their reaction to fan criticism. Because
Mhm.
as much as people don't want to admit it, fans want these things to be good. They
Yes.
want these things to be successful.
Yep.
And I had to state that. Well, I didn't state that. I was being more of an asshole to the production designer of Picard season 3.
Yeah, you have to fill me in on all that later, but yeah.
Yeah, so But
But you're absolutely right. It's everywhere. And then, like, how many they've done, I don't know how many Nintendo Directs focused on the movie, 3 at least. They've had all
or
the
4,
cast members come in and say a bit about it. I mean, they get millions of people watching those Directs live, and then who
And
knows
then
after.
did you
And
see
then
the premiere
trailers are
pictures?
really good too.
Yeah, the trailers are really good. Did you see the recent premiere pictures that
I haven't, no.
that Geeks and Gamers posted them on Twitter?
Oh, that's
And
Sorry.
even Jack Black on his suit jacket had King Bowser's spikes on his suit jacket.
Yeah,
So
well,
he was.
of course, yeah.
Oh, I know, but
like
it's
but no, if you, I know Pips, you got to go, but if you're cast as Bowser, would you not wear a jacket with spikes and a hat? I mean, come on. It's like,
but I
of
think,
course,
but I,
like,
I
it's
think
I
of
know
course.
I would.
I think of course, but I think it's good to see them to be wanting to look and actually try to be in their character as if they're taking their at least to me it seems like Jack Black and Chris Pratt are taking their characters seriously. That's
Yeah.
how I look at it. So
I agree.
yeah,
I think,
and it's
very
they're not
good.
and they're not berating the public over it either. If they have
Absolutely.
if people are
We're having
have criticism.
fun. They're
Yes,
having fun.
we're having
They're having
fun.
fun, and
Yeah.
like you're gonna have fun too. Join us, right? It's like, and then like it's everywhere. It's like I've had Salty Traveling C text me like 4 times different deals to get free movie tickets if you do this. If you buy a Taco Bell, get a free Mario movie ticket. If you buy this at GameStop, get a free Mario movie ticket. It's like they're doing all that stuff, and I know that's a little bit to inflate. Look, I know
Numbers
to inflate numbers a little bit, but it's still advertising as well, right? So
yeah.
I mean, you buy 70. I mean, it's not like it's cheap, but I think it was $75 in Mario movie merchandise at GameStop. You get a free ticket. It's like, well, you're spending some money there, but it's still a free ticket, right? So I know that's sort of another ploy to get numbers up. I don't think they're going to need it. I think they're going to destroy everything. D&D's a little bit in trouble, making their profit margin back. Maybe they did better than I thought they were going to do this weekend. So good on them.
Opening weekend numbers are
about what,
surprisingly good.
77 million worldwide, so that's pretty good. I mean,
good,
but
yeah.
I think Mario's going to take all the air out of the room. I think it's just going to
I think you're right. I think it's going to. But if it made that much money this weekend, I think it'll actually make its money back. I think that my initial thought that it would make money. I think you guys were 100% right that Mario is going to stop it from being a big movie.
Yes.
It will get some good numbers opening weekend. It might get some follow-on numbers. It's not going to go, it's not going to go into last place or something like that. Yeah. But it's going to be far behind. Like Mario is going to suck out the oxygen
all the air from everything.
So
D&D may get half if they're lucky, but probably, John Wick saw 72 drop. So D&D will probably see a 72 drop or something close. And then, so they may make it back.
D&D might actually have a less
because
than you might think, because it was John Wick. Everybody nnew about it, wanted to see it, whatever. Nobody knew about the D&D movie because the marketing was so shit. So word of mouth might actually
Who produced D&D?
Hasbro and somebody. It has to be Hasbro and then somebody else, but.
I know somebody associated with Spider-Man No Way Home is on the project for either directing or producing. There's
the Homecoming. The guys that wrote Homecoming. Yeah.
Homecoming. Sorry.
The dude from Freaks and Geeks.
Yeah. Yep. Anyway, hey, I got to run. I appreciate you having me on to talk about this.
This is something I said I can change.
Mario movie. I can change, man. I can change.
Got anything you want to plug?
Nah, man, we're I'm gonna watch Mario this week as well. We're on a bye week for the Lord of the Rings book club, so that'll be 2 weeks from now. We might put a stream together if something comes up, and I'll continue to bug Alex about dropping his video. But other than that, yeah, nothing crazy.
You may have some guys tomorrow, Pips. Just so you know.
What?
From me.
Oh, you're gonna drop something good. Sweet. I will check it out. I've been needing that profit rage. The IV drip of rage was cut off for a while, and yeah. So we'll have a kind of quiet week, and just enjoyed being on here. You guys have a good rest of the stream, and Steve have a good stream on Ted Lasso, right?
Yeah, 9:00 for me. So and us. Oh, I guess us Mags too. So.
Yep, I will see you.
Good Good to see you, bro.
Bye,
See you,
Finn.
dude.
Have a good night, everyone.
Bye. So, Max, what'd you think of John Wick? No, kidding. We're not there yet. I know
No.
you didn't. I know you didn't see it.
Yep.
So I don't know. So I don't know. Mario is gonna. I don't know.
I know it's going to be successful. I think they're going to put Easter eggs probably from every game.
And
So
they're going to use this as a potential. I mean, I know they're probably working on a Zelda movie, but they're probably.
I hope they do a Zelda
Well,
anime.
I will.
Zelda anime. Yeah.
Well, I bet you they're looking at this movie as if
Oh,
this
yeah.
is successful, this is going to work. So that's kind of
100%.
what they're doing with this.
Well, if you think, like, I was talking to actually my father again about this. Nintendo is just primed to sort of take over entertainment. Universal Studio, they got Mario Land, which looks freaking amazing. Like, it might actually be the excuse I need to take my kids down to Florida to even go to Disneyland and then like just make a thing of it. Universal's Mario Land thing, they're putting Mario Kart tracks in there. They're doing the whole thing. It looks freaking crazy. And then on top of that, all the original IPs Nintendo has, just off the top of my head, you got Mario, obviously, you got Zelda, and then you got Metroid. I mean, like, and I still think Filmporeal's idea, you do a primal version of Metroid. Good Lord, what a show that would be. And then just do a long form Legend of Zelda freaking anime. I mean, it could run for freaking 15 seasons or so.
Yeah,
I mean, you can start from the beginning and just go.
I do not want to see Illumination doing a Zelda thing with their way they design.
It's a different style, right? I mean, it works for Mario.
It works for Donkey Kong. Heck, it might even work for Star Fox, but not Zelda.
Yeah, Star Fox 2. That's another one. I mean, that's another one. Shoot. So, but I think that's one of the things I'm worried about in this movie, besides for, of course, Seth Rogen. But Donkey Kong, I doubt will be in very long. To be honest, I think he'll have his
just a cameo. It's just
it has to have his Smash Bros. Stuff, and then off he goes. I hope, but I'm a little worried because that's one of the things in one of the reviews I glanced is Easter egg plethora everywhere. I hope it's just not like Easter egg on top of 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 Easter egg. It's like, yes, we want to see some Easter eggs because there can be lots of them, but control yourself. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's, does that make sense? I just don't want it to be member berries or Easter egg the movie. I want it to actually have a full coherent story, and you throw the Easter eggs in there to sort of heighten the story. Does that make sense?
I mean, there's musical member bear. I mean, there's gonna be so many Easter eggs. Just the platforming element of Mario. I mean, I kind of want to see them go into almost every type of world. And
there's not enough time for that, bro.
I know.
Unless they just do a montage. I mean, they could do a montage. Giant Land. All of a sudden, he's in Giant Land.
Yeah, it looks like they're going to go with the clear pipe approach from 3D World.
That's smart. Yeah, I think that's smart.
But yeah, gotta have pipes. You just have to have basic elements of Mario to craft a Mario story, and it's usually Mario has to go rescue the princess.
Yep. Well, and that doesn't seem like that's what's going to be this time. So I'm interested to see what it is.
I think
it looks like he's saving Luigi. Because the princess asked for his help. The princess is fully engaged in whatever's going on. So,
true.
I almost think it might be, Mario going out to save Luigi. I don't know, and that's fine. I'm glad I don't know. I'm glad they haven't spoiled the whole story with their trailers. They haven't. I don't really even know what the story is very much, which is, I think, fine. But I was thinking about it. Wouldn't it be ingenious for this movie to come out and then right at the end, like in the end credits, they announce Mario movie, the video game for Switch?
That would actually be really good advertising. I'm not gonna lie.
Coming out the end of the year, since there hasn't been a Mario game since Odyssey. Like, wouldn't that be crazy? Because they have all the merchandise out there. Mario movie, the game, freaking December 2023. I'd shit myself. I'm not even kidding. That'd be great.
Oh, gosh.
I'm curious. Are they really Easter eggs if they're blatant and obvious? Is that?
Yes,
Mhm.
because
See,
there's
I
still
will probably won't recognize. You know, I'll note like I know like Koopas and all that kind of stuff, and oh hey X-wing.
Wait, so we have to.
don't
You have to answer his question. Are you an AI?
no,
yes.
I'm
I am
not.
a.
Yeah, we met her.
AI.
We met her, and she's actually a
Eh,
screen. She's an AI in a screen.
Yeah.
So like,
She has-
there's no physical body. That's just
Hold on,
that's how she exists.
I've,
Just like that episode of Cowboy
I've got
Bebop.
six. I got 6 fingers.
Oh my god.
What's up, X-Wing? Thanks for being here.
Hey X-wing.
But yeah, Mario. I want to see. I want to see a Mario. One game that I don't think gets any love is Mario 2. Mario 2. And I know they're going to do the whole poison mushroom joke because we saw it in the trailer. But I want to see them pick up a vegetable and just chuck it at enemies, and then they die, or then they die by falling through the floor and everything, just like in the game. That's what I want to see.
I doubt it.
I mean,
I think they're going to stay away from Mario 2 if I had to guess.
What's wrong with Mario 2?
I just don't think there's room for it in this movie. Like, unless it's an Easter, I guess a small Easter egg makes sense.
He can, he could pick up a vegetable, yoink it, and just throw it. That's what I want to see.
I mean, I guess it would have to be a very small Easter egg for the plot. Like, you can't get all the bird. Well, I guess Birdo's in it. Isn't she? Is it she?
I don't think you should assume it's gender, Steve.
It? Birdo's in it?
I think Birdo's a he.
Birdo's in it. I don't care. I don't care. It doesn't matter.
Doki Doki Panic. Yep.
I think a little Easter egg for Mario 2 is in order. Maybe a few, right? And I think even what I guess it depends. What is the exact definition of an Easter egg? It doesn't have to be hidden. I guess it's supposed to be hidden in the background, but
usually it's there to kind of. It's not essential to the story, but it's there to kind of just add as a detail for something in case you like a nerd like me would rewatch
something related to
you would see it and you would enjoy it more. You would think, hey, the filmmakers put this in there. They just wanted this as their way of acknowledging fans who would know that stuff.
So I guess if it's blatant and obvious, because that was the question, right? Is it really an Easter egg if it's blatant and obvious? I guess so, because like Mag said, she might not pick up on it initially. She'd have to go look around and like get a list of Easter eggs. I guess let me see. If it's important to the plot, I guess it's not an Easter egg. Is that fair? I guess it can be both. I guess it can be both though, right? I mean, you can say, hey, we got to go to Giant World to get this piece before we go save the princess. That's technically an Easter egg, but important to the plot too, because right? I don't know.
That'd be a MacGuffin then.
Is it? No, the piece would be the MacGuffin, not Giant World. Giant World is an Easter egg. If you had to go get the star of killing Bowser, that would be the MacGuffin. McMuffin. Whatever. I don't know. I don't care. As long as it's not overt and just ruins the story, I don't care. I guess that's my answer.
What's up, Salty? We're talking about Mario. We're talking about we're just anticipating Mario, the Mario movie. So yeah.
Throw broccoli. Okay.
Your son loves broccoli, but he hates the other green vegetables.
They all love broccoli. Broccoli's good.
So yeah, so that's Mario. Any anticipation, Mags?
It just seems like it's a overall, they've been really advertising it well. Of course I like Chris Pratt. I know some people have criticisms over the voice, and just like he said, maybe we just need to see it and see what they do with it. I think, I know there's some criticisms over Princess Peach in that situation. I don't know. For me, I think it just looks like a very fun movie. It is going to blast Disney out of the water because Mario is, I think, according to what I heard from Tom from Midnight's Edge, is that Mario is now the number one most recognized what do you call that?
Might be
A logo or something like that.
Icon.
Icon in the world, and that
Video
is
game icon. Yeah.
well, it's not just video game icon, just as a character in general. It's kind of like Spider-Man was the icon for basically Marvel Comics. It's kind of like that. And
when I was a kid, and when we were, I think when we were kids, like I think Mario at that point was even more recognizable than Mickey Mouse.
Mascot. That's it.
yeah, the mascot. Yeah, mascot.
Yeah, because I think that, and that has to be true. Because like today, if you held up a picture of Mario, I think probably 95% of anybody knows it. You hold up a Mickey Mouse, maybe grown-ups and some teenagers. I don't know how many kids know who Mickey Mouse is, to be honest.
Probably not many because
I don't know.
Disney sucks.
That whole crew. I don't know. But yeah, I think that's a good point.
I think.
Sorry, go ahead.
No. It's. I think Mario. At least I know for now, like for real now, Mario is the most recognizable mascot in the world, and it's beat out Mickey Mouse. So there is going to be a huge competition, and I think Universal and Nintendo Land and all that kind of stuff, they are, they're letting Disney do their thing, and they're sitting back and they're going.
So is it Pikachu or is it Mario? Because they like, I think those are two. Gadfly and Angry Canadian both said that, because those have to be 1 and 2. I would think.
Mario is
more recognizable than Pikachu.
Yeah, Mario is actually more recognizable.
So I'm not doubting it. I just they have to be. They have to be like
they're pretty close. Pokemon's like the next biggest Nintendo brand after Mario. So
hold on, let me look it up real quick.
But yeah, so but yeah, that's pretty much Mario. So I can't wait to go see it. I'm going to see it on Wednesday. I'm going to probably do a reaction, a reaction right away, and then I'm going to probably make a video about Mario. And yeah, so we got about 38 minutes until Ted Lasso. So we only have a 25-minute window to talk about John Wick. So Max, if you want to duck out, you can duck out if you want to.
Okay. Sorry, I was trying to find it, but I don't know why. I think I know I can't remember where Tom found the list, but yeah, it's Mario that's the most recognizable mascot in the world. And that overtook Mickey Mouse. So
holy crap. Sorry. I apologize. Normally early releases, is it out Wednesday or is it early release?
It's out Wednesday.
On Wednesday. I got 11 a.m. tickets to see it. So.
Okay. I'm sorry, excuse me. So it's officially out Wednesday. It's not like early release. Okay, because I popped up the theaters and I was like, wow, early release at 10 a.m. That's crazy. Sorry.
Yeah. So anyway, I'm looking forward to it. I hope I can get a ticket this weekend. I know it's Holy Weekend for a lot of us out there, and that will be you're balancing family and all that kind of stuff and traditions and such. But yeah, I am looking forward to it. I think it's going to be, Nintendo has been very smart in playing it safe in terms of not only their advertising, but they know not to, excuse me for saying it, not to piss off their audience either.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
Like and a lot of these companies are just they're advertising, they're using pissing off the audience as an advertisement, which is stupid and weird. So Nintendo has not done that. Chris Pratt and at least Jack Black have not done that as far as what I've seen and heard. So and it seems like they genuinely are enjoying and have had fun being their characters. And that's something you don't see very much every day.
fully embraced it. I think you're absolutely right. And I think I really think, like we said before, I think Nintendo was poised to take over the entertainment world.
Nintendo's going, Pinky in the brain, we're poised to take over the world.
All right. I mean, I didn't even mention Pikachu in Pokemon. I mean, good Lord. So they have all the IPs they need. So
yeah. All right. I will see y'all later on the Ted Lasso stream. Bye.
All right. See you, Max.
Bye.
So now let's talk
down to us.
Down to us. We're gonna talk John Wick 4. And
yes, sir.
Dude, I did not expect. I mean, I did not expect. I mean, I was expecting it to be like the penultimate movie. I did not expect it to be the final, to be the end.
Well,
without going into these spoilers.
They say it's the end, but it's not going to be the end. I don't think
They're making
Go ahead.
They're making a spinoff. They're making
Well,
a
they're making
spin-off
several
featuring
spin-offs.
younger versions of the characters, which doesn't sound good already. Doesn't sound
So,
good
so
at all.
that I feel like that's part. So I've been trying to think about it a little bit more deeply here because a lot. I feel like, and I said it to my father in the theater. I feel like there was a lot of setting up past events that we were curious about why these friendships have formed. So, and excuse me, I don't know the character's name, but you start off in Osaka, Japan, right after all that, where he's being hidden. You sort of wonder why, how their friendship and their loyalty between these two characters. You know that he's willing to hide John, even though he knows it's calling certain doom to his Continental, especially with happened to New York, right? So you're sort of
Yeah.
like, how is that bond so deep that he knows he's just basically screwing himself? Something huge has to happen, right? So I feel like those are little things being planted in our brain in case it's like, hey, John Wick prequel, right? I hope
Yeah.
they don't do that. I'm already hearing concerning things about the Continental show, which they're doing, which is going to be, I don't know. I have no idea what that's going to look like. But I think there's still, I don't know. If Keanu Reeves has fuel in the tank, they could still make a 5. There's like, I don't know.
I don't know how they would do. I mean,
There's all kinds of ways they can do it. He's not, well, I don't want to go right to the end.
yeah,
I don't think
let's not say how it ends and everything for Judo Joker's sake. But yeah, what's up, man? It's good to see you. But I'm gonna say this: John Wick greater than Jason Bourne by far. Just the movies, just the cinematography in general, and the editing. I can see John Wick's fights. Jason Bourne just started a bad precedent that continued into the Daniel Craig Bond movies, where it's just quick cut after quick cut after quick cut after quick cut, and you barely see the fights and everything. And then other movies started adopting that, and it detracts from the movie, in my opinion, especially from showing really good stunts and showing really good, just really good fights in general. And I mean, I'll be honest, the shot composition in this movie was excellent. Like, I loved the shot of there's a shot of a massive cathedral. There's shots of Keanu Reeves in Japan on the balcony in Osaka with some cherry blossoms. And I was just like, I got super duper like Japanese cinema, Kurosawa vibes, a little bit of Blade Runner too, based on the coloring. I was just like, my eyes were glued to the screen.
So I don't know if I can say that about Wick greater than Bourne, at least the first 3 Bournes. In terms of story, I think the Jason Bourne movies are far superior to the John Wick movies, personally. At least the 3. Jason Bourne, the 4th one, it's sort of like a Crystal Skull type thing. Throw it away. It wasn't. It's not even close to these. And I rather enjoy those fight scenes too. So, I don't know if I'm on the same page as you saying they're better than the Bourne movies overall. Maybe. I mean, I
just don't like the fight sequences in the Bourne movies. It just quick cut after quick cut after quick cut.
I think that's I haven't seen them in a while, so that's probably accurate. But as far as story and engaging plot, I think they're better in terms of that, an actual all-encompassing story that the plot beats actually make sense. There's some stuff in these movies you have to know what movie you're going into. I mean, you're going into basically an action romp with some plot that, some of it you have to, suspend your disbelief quite a bit for it to work. So if you go in there just sort of like, okay, I the plot may be a little bit weird, but that's not what I'm here for. And you could see that sort of coming from 2 and 3. 2 and 3, there was holes sort of everywhere to plug into, but that's not why I went to see it. I enjoyed the hell out of it. It was fun. So let me just some of the negatives for me out of the way, because I did enjoy it. And the camera angles, like you said, that's something we talked about. I think the unique shots, the places they decided to shoot, all the on-site locations they decided to shoot at, some of the unique camera angles and stuff they decided to take on some of them, especially you know, I know I guess some people didn't like it, but I enjoyed the overhead you know, camera angle with the drone that went into sort of it almost looked like a video game when it went to the overhead shot sort of stuff. I thought that was very interesting and cool looking. I know a lot of the problems that people have had has been the car scene with the cars not stopping, you know, in wherever it was. I just wanted to get my car foo on, so I was okay. You know what I mean? It's like, okay, I don't know. So I guess there's things to be it just things that have been upsetting people about it just didn't upset me because I knew what I was going into. It's going to be a timer countdown, kill as many people as you can to get to the end type movie. And yeah, the blind nemesis didn't work for me. I'm just going to throw that out. But I had to just sort of let it go. And since he had his glasses on, I just sort of, you know, went with he can see a little. I don't know. You okay?
Yeah, I'm fine. Yeah, I'm fine. Just sorry.
It's okay. You sure you're okay? You look like you got mad.
No. Well, I'll tell you after the stream.
Okay, so, copy that.
But yeah, I love the I love the what do you call it? The thing. What do you call it? The
cinematography.
Yeah, I love cinematography. I love the fights, and it was just I was glued to my seat from back. I can't think from start to finish. So
yeah, oh, absolutely. Yeah, I don't think it's like in a lot of, you know, choreography wasn't as tight. Yeah, but it's like you know, at least, you know, again, I think there's the stakes keep raised with each movie. At least it's not just John walking around with the tailored suits of bulletproof material. You know, everybody has it. It's available to all the rich people, you know, to the table and all that stuff. It's not like he's walking around with a bulletproof suit and nobody else is. Everybody's sort of interacting the same way. You know, you know, there's so many people being thrown at him that, you know, to get every scene choreography perfect they'd never get a shot done. So I thought it was good enough. I thought it was fun. I thought some of it was definitely interesting stuff I'd never seen before. And I think that's the best part about it is they're thinking outside the box, right? I mean, the stair scene was. I like the stair scene a lot. Got all the way up the stairs, threw him right back down. So
it just kept going down. I was just like, get up. I'm like, get up, dude, get up. You know,
I do have to say he must have bones of adamantium, man. The falls he takes is just like, dude, that could have broke every bone in your body, bro. But it's like, yeah, whatever. He's Baba Yaga. I'll let it go. So,
all right, but yeah, so. This movie, John Wick, definitely 8 out of 10 for me.
Yeah, I think that's
it was. I mean, it earned a lot of that from the earlier movies, the world building, and I mean, just some of the things that happened were just so batshit crazy. I mean, just like the stunts have just gone so ridiculous. So I can forgive that.
Yeah.
So
I just had fun, right? I mean, if you know what you're going into, then you can have fun with it. I like the car scene. I like my car foo. One of my car foo. You know, one of my long-lasting one-shot action scenes. I like the top-down video game style fight scene. I don't know what you thought about that one, but I like that. The only thing I really had a problem with, and I got over it quite quick, was the blind nemesis just didn't do it for me. So, like I said before, so I don't know how you felt about that.
Oh, what? Sorry.
You okay? You here? The blind nemesis.
Oh, I loved Donnie Yen's character. I was just
I didn't buy the whole blind thing, so that was the only thing I had to sort of ignore. So
yeah, well, it was just basically him and like he was in Rogue One.
Yeah, but I don't think I had to convince myself he could see a little bit because there's no way. It's just there's no way. I mean, like, look, you can be the best. He's just basically Daredevil at that point, and now we're getting into comic book myths instead of an action real world setting, right? So because he's got no chance. There's too many bullets flying around. He's blind. He can't hear. He can't react in time to dodge bullets. I just had to let that one go. You know what I mean? It was just I had to just sort of push that off to the side and be like, all right, whatever. But everything else, the acting, the interaction between him and Wick and all that stuff, I liked all that. Just let him see a little bit, even just, something like, I don't know, just the whole blind Kung Fu master trope is getting a little bit overdone for me. And I wish they'd stop. I wish they just they could be Kung Fu masters and see. There's no reason they have to be blind.
Yeah, I can okay, I understand where you're coming from.
I mean, it was sort of neat, the sound thing. Like, I feel like they made him blind just to do that one scene where they put the sound devices in. You know what I mean? Like, the very first scene he's in, basically fighting, is he puts those little doorbell things on the stuff so he can hear people walking around. And they basically did that scene and they ditched that. He just could now hear everything. So, but yeah. So I don't know. I just didn't really hit for me. So I just decided that he could see a little bit. So you okay, bro?
I'm fine.
You look like your head's about to implode, my friend.
Yeah. Sorry, Twitter.
It's okay.
All right.
Okay.
But yeah, so we'll kind of stop it right here. So,
Okay.
There were great fight sequences. You had basically three major ones: one in France, one in Berlin, and one in Paris. And I felt it all came together. It was beautiful, and definitely go see it if you haven't seen it already. So, John Wick 4, definitely a must. 8 out of 10. So,
agreed.
All right, everybody, thanks for coming by. Thanks for watching, and have a good night.
Good night.